Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good morning to all of you, to all the participants for the second research methodology webinar. And today we'd like to introduce you to our speaker, Professor Dr. Sofri from University Science Malaysia, USM, to present his session for the literature review, design thinking. And without further delay, we would like you to all of us to welcome Professor Dr. Sofri Yahya. Okay, Professor, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zamhuri. Assalamualaikum and very good morning, to all. I would like to extend my thanks to the organizer for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts on these important topics. I think last week we had Dr. Noor Ullah Khan, where he went through a great detail about literature review, which I believe that the content that Dr. Noor have shared had covered all the fundamentals and key topics in literature review. So my role today basically to complement Dr. Noorullah lesson. So as a design thinker myself, we are basically trained, to look almost everything from a different view, from a different perspective. So same goes to this topic. So where I basically intend to share literature review from from another mindset and paradigm. which I call, okay, let me share my slide. Yeah. Can you see the slide? Yeah. Okay. So we shall basically name it as a literature review design thinking lens, yeah, where we're going to discuss literature review from a design thinker point of view. I purposely add what they overlook in research methodology course, which I basically intend to cover, yeah. Which I think if we look at the conventional or the basically the traditional research methodology course, I don't think that this particular paradigm or lens is basically discussed or covered. So this is my intention for today. I basically believe that most of you must have heard about design thinking. Yeah. So in a sense, yeah, design thinking is basically a method that we normally use to solve problems where if we apply in the proper manner, it should help us to come up with a more innovative solution with the basic principles that we put the human-centered in mind. So we put a customer first, and they are always in our radar. Yeah. So what you may ask, I mean, what motivated me to choose this particular topic? First of all, I mean, I'm basically inspired by this, by this book. So why not? Why not we perceive something from a different angle, especially when it's not well covered by a conventional approach or method. Yeah. So and in fact, another motivation why I choose this particular paradigm, to address or to deliver this module is basically, if we really look, yeah, I think most of you must have taken research methodology. Yeah. In fact, yeah, if we really look into the evolution of RM or research methodology, it does not really evolve that much since it was established in the mid 1950s. Even though I mean, perhaps maybe we can find some new element introduced, but mostly on the certain tools like statistical package or software. But as far as the method is concerned or the technique is concerned, I would say that all are basically remain status quo. It's not that much change, and in fact, which is, I mean, the normal process that I would advise all my students is basically to read at least 2 or 3 good thesis and written, so that they can have some idea about what they're going to produce at the end of their PhD or research journey. And in fact, if we look at all these theses, especially from the if the researcher use quantitative method, we don't see that much different, yeah, in terms of the content, approach, and even the design of the research. So I mean, but again, it's not the intention of this webinar. to propose a major shift in research methodology, but perhaps some thought, perhaps, I would throw some thought to all of you on how to conduct literature review, so that it can, if we want to, it can help, it can help, especially if we would expect some more meaningful impact from our research work, which I think all of us basically, believe that, the time, the resources that we invest in this journey, we would really wish that we're going to, get a more meaningful impact out of it. Yeah. So as a research students or scholars, something that I would like to advise is that, we don't stop learning, on this research methodology. Even though, especially for those who are, registering the PhD or masters by research in Malaysia, you have to, you have to pass this research methodology course. So my advice is that, don't stop learning, even though you have, passed with the flying colors, for that course. So I would, because, I would suggest that you continuously, learn and keep abreast and be an open-minded to all the new things that have been discussed on research methodology. Because I perceive that, research methodology is the key skill in research. I always, share this to the others, to other students, that, this PhD is basically, to give you the license to conduct research independently. So at the end of the day, one of the learning outcome that we expect from this journey is basically, your ability to conduct and supervise research. So in that sense, you need to have a good grasp of research methodology skill. I personally, still, learning, and basically, especially on the latest concept, the latest trend or paradigm as far as the research is concerned. Yeah. So I would really expect that this session will go into very interactive. Of course, because we are on the online mode, maybe we don't have that opportunity, to have what we call this verbal interaction. But I'm more than happy. To, to address or even to take up any comment, any recommendation, any issue that you want to raise. So please do so, either in the chat, or in the chat, or the on the Q&A. Yeah. So I really hope that we're going to have, we're going to have a warm pool, very lively and also interactive session, today. Yeah, I think it's not fair. Just me myself, to do all the talking. So this is basically me. Yeah. So I'm from Graduate School of Business, University of Science, Malaysia. I conduct research and teach in accounting, strategic innovation, and also design thinking. So I've been, since I basically, I basically started to specialize in this innovation and design thinking, begins, from 2013, when I discovered this method I mean, I went to Singapore to attend, I think, 3 or 4 days workshop on this particular topic, and I was the only Malaysian there. Yeah. So I mean, from there, I fall in love. I fell in love into this method, and even to develop this paradigm as well. So with that paradigm, I've been applying design thinking in teaching, research, training, consultancy, advisory, and also coaching. So I've been helping a lot of individuals, organizations, improvement, development strategy using this method. So I've conducted more than 50 workshops and basically trained 5,000 participants. You might be surprised why there are 5,000, especially if I conduct this training online, so we can expect sometimes thousands of them join at the same time. I mean, on the same session. So I've been invited by many organizations to share my thought on this. As far as the research is concerned, I think I have, have graduated quite a number of graduate, from various and different levels of studies. All right. So, right. Okay. So yeah, keep on adding the question, and I think some of the question I will address later. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the key takeaway, basically, I would basically expect that at the end of this session, I managed to inspire all of you, yeah, to have a different way of thinking, especially with regard to literature review, yeah, with regard to how you perceive, how you look, how you deal with literature, because if you can develop this critical thinking, that will really help you to benefit from the literature that you have in your storage, yeah, in your database. So again, I think the key element is thinking. I know it sounds weird, because everybody is thinking, everything is thinking, but not everybody is basically thinking in a very systematic manner. And in fact, I think many of us, are not really leveraging on this particular skills, because I always remind this, to any participants that we as a human beings, we are different with other creation, because we have brain, we have mind, where we should use this to help us to think properly, hopefully, I don't know, we with the limited time that we have, I try as much as possible to basically to inspire you, to have a different way of thinking, especially when you are dealing with this literature. And the other takeaway that I would expect is basically, I hope you can synthesize. You know what I mean of synthesize, right? Synthesize basically, you're able to come up with something new from all the, based on the discussion or analysis that you make. Especially we're going to discuss lots of principles, concepts, So I hope that you can synthesize all this knowledge, info, to come up with something new, which is basically pertinence when we discuss on literature review. Yeah, because literature review, we don't really expect you just to repeat or whatever been written, but you are basically expect to do is what we call this critical synthesis. Yeah. So because when we read your literature review chapter, we would expect some element of synthesis from there, where we're going to see how you can use various references, various literature for you to come up with something new with that. So and also we're going to spend most of our time on design thinking. So I really hope that you can apply design thinking principles to basically to enhance the entire process. Yeah, because the literature should start with the selection, how you analyze and how you synthesize, and also write your chapter 2 or chapter 3, depending how you design your thesis. Yeah. So hopefully that while you are able to apply, then you're going to discover the benefit, the unique insight, from applying this technique. And last but not least, I hope, I really hope also that you can internalize. Yeah, you can, you can put into practice. You put this into your mindset, and also become one of your paradigms, especially to when you are basically when you strategize or planning to conduct a research, where you are able to incorporate the principles of design thinking in your own research, which I think the most important is that the most importantly is basically somehow I hope that you can you're going to go away from this today session, where you can perceive that how design thinking can help you in your entire life, or as your lifelong learning agenda. Yeah. So so we're going to, this is basically my plan for today. Yeah. I plan to cover for 2 hours. Yeah. Until about 11:30, where the focus is basically more on the systematic literature review for your dissertation. I know that Dr. Noor have covered extensively on this particular element, but I'm going to share with you, how share you approach this concept, how you're going to do a systematic literature review, using a design thinking lens. I think we have a quite a number of basically slide or point for me to share. So I don't know. I think we're going to extend a few, maybe another 30 minutes or so. But for those who need to leave earlier, if you want to have a lunch earlier, I don't mind. Yeah, you can leave whenever that you feel will feel necessary. But but I think I'm going to extend this session maybe around until 12, or even I don't mind, to extend until 12:30 if you have lots of questions. Before we continue after lunch at 2, on this particular, writing and also, I mean, how we're going to share on how to write, literature review chapter. Yeah. Okay. I think based on my experience and observation, the best form of learning is not so much on listening and just absorbing, whatever that you listen. I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer in learning through, deep thinking and or reflection. So shall I invite all of you, to work on this particular simple exercise, simple exercise. I call it exercise 1, exercise 1. It's only a very short while. Maybe it will take more than 1 minute, or 2 minutes. Get yourself a piece of paper, any size will do. Yeah. Get yourself a piece of paper. Yeah. Design, and then based on that paper, design a wallet or a purse. Yeah. Design a wallet or a purse. I will give 1 minute for that. Design, design a wallet or a purse. So when it comes to design, the word design, you can do whatever, you can draw or you can sketch and you can, anything, as long as you know that, you are designing, you are working on a wallet or a purse. Yeah. Okay. Stop. Okay. Then I'll call it scenario 1. And then get yourself another piece of paper. Yeah. For another 1 minute, design a wallet and a purse, but this time try to put yourself in the shoes of the customer or user of that wallet. Put yourself in the shoes of the user or the customer of that purse or wallet, and you design the wallet, based on one that they wish, to have, they want, or they need. Yeah, do that in 1 minute. Because this is online. Normally, if I organize it face to face, so normally I'm going to pair you with your, next partner, and where you have the opportunity to engage, with your potential customer, and from there you design the wallet or the purse. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, good. All right. Okay. Some reflection from this, yeah. Which wallet or purse would highly likely, will fulfill, or we're going to have much more commercial value? Which design? Design 1 or design 2? Scenario 1 or scenario 2? Yeah, of course, yeah. So, I mean, again, it's very simple exercise. But if you really reflect on this, what shall we learn as a researcher? What shall we learn from as a researcher? What shall we learn from as a researcher? Our report should cater to the reader. Yeah, redesign. Try to be on reader side. Okay, good, good. Yeah. Yeah. Good, good, good. So that's where it goes. For those who really appreciate this, and you are about to shift a new paradigm of your life. That's why we call this customer-centered paradigm. So, but in reality, we have to accept the fact that in reality, most people would fall, would fall into a category 1, right? Yeah. In reality, yeah, many people, yeah, including researcher, would very comfortable with the scenario 1, right? So we call that individual, we call it a self-focused individual. Yeah, self-focused individual, where I don't think that that paradigm would help in any scenario, including your role as a researcher. So that's why you need to shift your paradigm into a customer-centered paradigm. So again, this is some point that I think you may also have a similar thought on this. Why the lesson that we learn, why many people, including researchers, would fall into this domain of scenario 1. Yeah. So please go through the point, and if you have anything to add or if you have anything to explain, I'm more than happy. To see that in your Q&A. Sorry, Q&A or yeah, and also chat. Yeah. So either way. Yeah. Yeah. So again, yeah, lack of understanding about the importance of customer-centered paradigm. Because we are so used to, right? If I always joke this, to the PhD holders, even the professors, because we are so used to self-focus. We have PhD, and we all, we always assume that we know already. Why should we consult the customer, right? We know what the customer wants, but not in reality. Yeah. So all this issue, a lack of understanding on the importance of customer-centered, paradigm, and also again the personal bias. As a human, we always have this bias. We have this assumption. In fact, all the way, right? Even when we conduct research, that's why they call it research is very, it's very low. Very lonely. Because you work by yourself, which I think that should not be the way. Yeah, research, should be merrier, should be very engaging, where you engage various stakeholders, various customer into your work, into your work. Very short-term focus, right? We don't want, again, scenario one is very short-term focus, where scenario two would inspire you to engage your customer. Very silo, very silo. I think we are so used to this, silo thinking, this is my approach, this is my way, this is my area. So, we're going to start, we're going to stick with this, and fear of change. So the last thing that we want to do is to change. So we are so comfortable the way that we are doing. So, so that's why lots of new ideas are basically, are not able to change because we are very, we are so fear to change. So, and also the organization's culture, that also contribute, when the element of scenario two is not basically captured, in fact, even though you are expected, to write in your thesis, we call it the practical contribution, but at the end of the day, it's not really assessed, it's not really assessed how your output, how your research output really make an impact, to the user or to the customer, or perhaps some, we call it inadequate feedback mechanism. So these are the, so these are the one. Anything that you want to add? We need to do PhD. Ya, shock sendiri this. Yeah, okay. Yeah. In academic, is who the real customer? Is it our customer? Okay, we're going to discuss that, Daniel. Yeah, very interesting topic. Yeah, very interesting question. Yeah, we're going to do that. All right. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Yeah, open-minded. We have to be very open. Yeah. So that's why when we embark on this research, we need to ask ourselves, this big why we are conducting this research, because that paradigm, that paradigm will really impact, will really affect the way that we perceive research, because if we have the right paradigm, definitely that we're going to have, we're going to have a different objective, different purpose, even direction of taking this journey, this research journey. So with that correct paradigms, we're going to enjoy, we're going to benefit of having that more than two world. We are not, we are not only getting the title, but we are also gaining some satisfaction with our outcome. We have an input where it can be an impact to the society, and which I think, even in the form of, if we can, if we can create some commercial value out of the research finding that we develop. So that's why, I really hope that, in fact, if I have the opportunity, to read, to retake, or to join the PhD research, that something that I would really wish that, how shall this thesis can be turned into a boardroom, rather than it just, it just good on the shelf. So this will require a different paradigm. They would require a different mindset. Anyone would wish, to have all your thesis to become relevant to the boardroom? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, right? I think we don't want, yeah, we don't want after all the 3 years and all the, all, all the, blood and the sweat that we put. I think, it's not really justice. It's not really doing justice to our effort. It's only good on the shelf. So we really wish that our thesis will be on the bedroom. So on the boardroom, yeah, on the boardroom. So that's why we always need to rethink. Yeah, we need to reflect. The method that we use in conducting our research. I think all of you must have seen, have used, have dealt with this, right? Business model canvas. Business model canvas. Yeah, I think everybody knows about this. And I think most of you also know who invented this model. Who invented this model? Yeah, yeah, Alex, yeah, the famous Alex. Alex Osterwalder. Yeah. The big history of this canvas. Yeah. I have the chance to read his thesis, but now I think it's not available. It's not available anymore on the web. Yeah, on the web. So I managed to read his thesis, and I think this is one of the good example where a thesis can be relevant to the boardroom. So and I think all of us are basically agree that Alex also Waldo has become one of the world renowned or world famous or top thinkers, yeah, top thinkers, based on this canvas that developed from his thesis, yeah, from his thesis. And if you read this thesis, he basically applied design thinking system, design thinking concept. And for those who want to take that challenge, perhaps maybe you can find your own way, yeah, because it's not available anymore on the web, yeah, on the website. This is the thesis that where he developed this canvas, yeah. So he's basically using a design thinking approach, yeah. So again, this is something that I always remind my students that so we have few success story, and so why not? So I think he must, if you ask him, he must be very satisfied with his effort. So it's not only he earned the title, but also he earned that return, yeah, from this model. So perhaps we're going to see. That's something that I want to share today. Yeah, something that I want to share today is something that you can reflect on, and it can help in some way to make your research more, we call it, impactful. Yeah. So something that we're going to reflect on this, in this session today, is how you're going to see literature review in different ways. Yeah. Because literature review even sounds simple to many of us, but to me, literature review is the pinnacle. It's very important. Yeah, very important. That's where it begins. Yeah, that's where everything begins. So that's why if we have the right approach, okay, on design thinking, yeah, it will really help us. Yeah, I would call this, if we apply design thinking, again, it's not only design thinking. Again, I'm not really selling a design thinking here. Yeah, I basically just to propose, design thinking principle is one of the approaches, one of the techniques that basically you may adopt, because it really helped you in your literature review process, where you can leverage, you can leverage on literature review that that you do, okay, where if you apply it in a proper manner, you will able to transform research output, research output into that, not all, I mean, to address the user need and the pain point. If you go back to Alex just now, one of the reason why, his canvas were well received, overwhelmingly, right, by the user, because this is what the pain, right, the pain of the user, the pain point of the user. Agree? Do you think that that canvas, I mean, I use it a lot. Okay, I use that in my consultancy. I use that in my problem solving effort. In fact, I use that canvas even to develop strategy, even to develop personality, self-development. So it's very powerful. Do you think that that canvas address the need or the pain point of the user? Yeah. So yeah. All right. So again, all right. So of course it is. Yeah. Of course. Okay. All right. So Azwan, is this the full thesis of Alex? Congratulations if you managed to get it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, but something that I want to highlight is that we can use design thinking process to develop that canvas or model. Yeah, the same goes as approach taken by Alex. Yeah, Alex, he used design thinking to develop, that model. Yeah, to develop that model. So so we're going to see. Yeah, we're going to see. Even though I would require normally at least 1 or 2 days, to cover the whole process of design thinking. But I'm basically, I would simplify the process in the context of literature review. So I will go slightly fast, but I know that you are all of the fast learner. So I just need your input, you need your attention, so that all of us can learn together. Yeah. Okay. So with that paradigm, with that approach and mindset, it has a commercial value and the potential to generate revenue or create impact in the industry. So if you really reflect, okay, on that particular output, so the first thing that we need to do, so when we do our literature review, you will always have this in mind. We have to be aware of the user need. You need to understand, we need to aware what are the user need. Yeah. So you need to gain a deep understanding of the target audience. So that's why you need to identify who are your customer, who are your audience. All right, who are your audience, or the potential user? Yeah, identify the pain point, unmet need, and aspiration. Okay, go back to Alex just now. So in Alex case, when he did his PhD, who was his target audience? Who was his customer? Yeah. When Alex developed his thesis while he are designing and working on his research, who was basically his target audience? Well, yeah, stakeholders. Can you specify? Yeah, the industry, business owner, or the user of the canvas. He knows the pain. He knows the pain suffered by the business owner. They know the pain. I mean, they have no clue. Most business owners have no clue on how to maneuver, on how to manage, on how to manage their business, or how to, if they want to redesign, if they want to re-strategize their business, they have no point whatsoever. What are the key elements? So that's why he identified that 9 elements. Yeah, Alex identified these are the key 9 elements that any business need to have. So in research, in the context of research, so he managed to develop that 9 variable. Yeah, so the 9 variable are the key for a success business. Yeah, so this is what you get. So that means when he developed the framework, okay, he developed with a full awareness that this is what this is what the customer really need and also really want. Yeah, or new venture business model. Yeah, I mean to me that model is applicable. I use that to develop entrepreneurs. I use that to basically to re-strategize. So I mean it's so useful and it's multi-purposes. Yeah. So it's basically address the pain. Yeah, address the pain. So based on that user need, yeah, based on that user need, and then we start thinking. We call it ideation. Yeah, we start thinking what are the idea, what are the idea that we can offer. Same goes to that that 9 element that basically appear in the canvas. Yeah. So then he basically based on the need and he start ideation, start generating ideas, and from that idea he developed that canvas. Yeah. And then this is what we need to learn. Yeah, the conventional researcher, please, yeah, please, stop and ponder. Yeah, normally we just start at ideation. Yeah, we start with ideation, or maybe we, maybe we stop at the prototype. Yeah, we develop the theoretical framework. We develop the model. We develop the model. But we might, we might miss this point. Point number 4. A good process, especially what we learn from a design thinking process, there must be some element of testing. There must be some element of testing. Yeah. So I don't think anyone of the researcher, yeah, thought of this. They thought that when they got the finding and when everything is significant, they are jump into joy. All their hypotheses are basically supported. And they just stop there. Which I think that's something that we need to reflect. Because significant doesn't mean that is acceptable, right? Significant, yeah. Significant relationship does not mean that it is well accepted by the company. Anyone agree with that? If we were to see the relationship between this model and it's a 2 to 18. Yeah, that's what I use. That's why when I was introduced this business model canvas, I don't know, maybe early 2000, I would make the strategy process irrelevant. Yeah, because this business model can be used to visualize strategy. That's something lacking about strategic development, strategic management. Most of the strategic management we can't really visualize, we can't really see. So that's why I think that the strategy, normally we go for a retreat, we develop the strategy and then develop that in the good, put that into good PowerPoint, print it and only good for the shelf. And then that's why have you heard of this term that we eat our strategy by lunch? Yeah, we eat our strategy by lunch because after the retreat, we develop and then we just forget about it and we go back to our business. Because why? Because we can see, we can visualize the strategy. So business model canvas have that uniqueness, have that value proposition, have that strength, where it enables us, to visualize, to visualize the strategy. Yeah. All right. So that's why I think, so in most circumstances, okay, we are so happy again, yeah, with our finding, and we just stop there and start sharing. So my question that I just asked you just now, okay, are the significant relationship equivalent to well accepted, or are they equivalent to fulfill the need of the customer? Is it equivalent? Yeah. Significant relationship, do they, do that statement, do that model, we also equivalent to, it is well accepted by the user, by the customer. Any thought? Yeah. It's not necessary, right? It's not necessary. Yeah, not necessary. Yeah. So that's why, that's why in design thinking, in fact, many of theses that, many theses that I examine, I come up with this recommendation, but I think it's not well accepted, by the supervisor and also by the student. If I ask, is there any way that you can test the model that you develop, to the real user, what with their point of view, and so this is what basically lacking. Yeah, the conventional way of research is basically we don't extend the process by getting feedback, yeah, by testing this to the real user. So in design thinking, this is what we expect. Yeah, in design thinking, if you really follow the process, we have to. That's why we call it the interactive testing. So we test, yeah, we test and then we refine it. Yeah, we test and refine. So yeah, of course that I will get the same comment every time they say that, oh, they have no time to do that, Okay, so yeah, okay, yeah, we do that. Yeah, we do that. But this what I meant over here is basically, when you discover your finding, why not you get the feedback from the user and refine it further. Yeah, and from there you develop the business model. Yeah, business model development, and which I think that we're going to have much more probability, yeah, much higher chance of getting commercialized or monetized. Yeah, and from there you implement. So this is basically an overview about how design thinking is basically applied in literature review. All right. So before we go further, okay, before we go further on this, yeah. So I know that it's quite challenging, quite challenging for us to shift these paradigms. So especially when he have been inculcated, when been cultured, from the beginning, when systematic process of business methodology were introduced. About 70 or 80 years ago. So to help you to appreciate more on this paradigm shift, okay, perhaps I would like to share some thought on this. We call it the core principles of learning and personal development for researcher. I think in a learning and personal development, philosophy serve as a compass that help us to navigate in complexity of life. It encourages us to question, reflect, and seek deeper meanings, enabling us to make more informed choices and live more fulfilling lives. So, I mean, this is something that that I think is quite relevant, for all of us, especially when we are doing our, when you are doing your PhD, for example. So we should never ignore the element of philosophy there. Yeah. So the essence of philosophy is basically to teach us to think, critically and logically. You have to be able to reason out everything that that you claim. Yeah, this is what basically. So again, I would like to. This is what I meant by by that philosophical element. My role today, I don't intend to indoctrinate, yeah, but I would inspire all of you, to think, yeah, to think, and to think at the same time to have doubt and question, to have doubt, what I'm basically doing, how we're going to do it differently, because with the ultimate aim of, you want to ensure that your research, to have some impact, to do that, I think we can't afford to be just a blind follower and a herd mentality. Yeah. Even though people might say that this technique has been established, for decades and almost a century, but we still, we still have the right to question and have doubt on whatever knowledge that we have. So to me, a good researcher is an independent thinker. You need to have your own principle. You need to have your own paradigms, and and also even that will also help you to have a clear objective, the purpose of conducting research. So that's why I think, yeah, we are very basically overwhelmed by this information. But the issue is that this is also another skill that you need to work on during your literature review. You need to be conscious of this irrelevant information. You need to be able to select which information, which knowledge, which finding are more relevant. Because at the end of the day, we have this. For all information that you are exposed to, that given to you, it can be always a false or even propaganda. And the last thing that that you want to be is basically you are the victim of falseness. Especially nowadays, we have to be a very particular, okay, on the quality of research output and research finding. After after lots of incidents have been raised, where people might question on the quality of the research finding. So that's why we need to be clear. We need to have this clear. That's why I would call it, clarity is power. We need to be clear what type of research that we're going to do, what type of output that we expect. And because the quality of the research output is basically depending on the quality of the information, quality of data that you use. So that's why truth matter. So the whole, to me, that to ensure that you're going to very, all of us will have a very what we call satisfying outcome is basically if we can ever uphold this. Why we conduct research, we want to conduct a truthful research because we're going to pursue the knowledge, the right knowledge. So that's why I think I also found this quite interesting article when it discussed that one way to guide us, whether whether, I mean, the quality of the article that we refer to, you know, are truth or falseness, or maybe fall into the element of propaganda. Yeah. So something interesting where you say that, you know, one way is to look into the fundamental. I mean, in fact, it's a lesson that we learn as well. I learned this, you know, the lesson that that I need to reflect as well when we conduct research. You know, the fundamental to pursuing truth is to start with a question. Yeah, so we can ask ourselves, right? Do we start with a question or we start with the answer? Yeah, we start with a question because this makes a lot of difference. So, I mean, ethically, all right, ethically and principally, okay, in principle wise, I think we should start with a question. You know, we start with a question and looking for the answer. Yeah, rather than having the answer and try to justify, you know, try to justify the answer that you already have in mind. So the question, even the kind of evidence brought to bear, is guided, you know, by shape or shaped by principles and value. So you start with a question, you know, and then you follow, you know, you follow the process, you know, or you use all the evidence basically, and also guided, you know, shaped by your principles and values, you know. So there's no such thing as value-free social science, especially in social science, yeah, social science where we deal a lot of human. Our data also basically taken from human. So I don't think there is no, I mean, is there any, you know, value-free element there? So anything need to be well supported by value, yeah. So if you are looking for truthful research, the answer is what they are, okay, regardless of researcher point of view. So your bias, your point of view will not, you know, will not what we call distort, or will not influence, yeah, will not influence your finding, yeah. So by contrast, you know, falseness or propaganda start with the answer and rely on research not to find out how things work, but to prove a predetermined conclusion. So this is also another, I mean, again, the lesson that we learn when we conduct our literature review, we conduct our research, and also maybe the basis that we can, that we can use, you know, to evaluate, you know, to evaluate or to use the references, you know, the references in our literature review. Because again, I think how systematic your literature review is, but if the source, you know, if the source of article, the source of reference are not of quality, also that will also affect the entire research. Yeah. So so that's why that in a journey to make your research, you know, more impactful, I always have this, you know, are we thinking and living in the past or thinking and living in the future? So you know, even though we need the past researcher or prior researcher, I mean, research, you know, to guide us through, but I really hope that, you know, you have a slightly different mindset. You know, I mean, the past is place of reference, only a place of reference, not a place of residence. So I mean, to make sure our research are impactful, you know, we should not totally rely on what basically available in the past. You know, we need to think what will be available, what will be relevant in the future. So the past is the place of learning, not a place of living. So in our research, we need to live. Yeah, we need to live in the future. So that's why Peter Drucker shared this quote. Yeah. So the best way to predict the future is to create. Yeah? So that's why, you know, I really wish that, you know, all of you, you know, can come up with the model that is future relevant. You know, the finding that we're going to, I mean, just take for example of, again, you know, Alex Osterwalder business model canvas. I think he developed that in 2004, if I'm not mistaken, 2005, and still irrelevant until now. You see, so in that sense, yeah, he lived in the future. When he was the researcher, when he conducted that research, he lived in the future. He can foresee, what basically happened in the future and how we're going to make sure that his research findings are basically relevant in the future. That's why something that I can conclude, as a learner and researcher, we should think and live in the future, So that's why I wanted to share this, quite interesting model that, that everything start with principle. Yeah, everything start with principle. So the principle, the knowledge, the belief system that you have is basically will influence your paradigm. So if you are open enough today, okay, if you are able to, again, I don't force you, but you need to convince yourself that if it's, if there is any good element that you learn from this design thinking, that, you may use that as one of your principles, your identity, and that will shape your paradigm, and that paradigm will also influence your thought and your thought, in your thought, basically, how you conduct research, and action in research that you do, all right? And the behavior, that will influence your behavior, it will become your habit and also your character, and lastly will become your destiny. So it's all fall back to that principle. I wanted to highlight this black line here, yeah, the black line here. I purposely differentiate this black line. Is this just to differentiate between either you are living in the future or you are living in the past. If you keep on doing the same action, yeah, you keep on, you believe that the action that you take, this is the best way. They never thought of, never able to accept a new idea, new concept. So you're going to start with this action, behavior, habit, and you are stuck. That's why I said you are living in the past. If you are down here, okay, if you are down here, so you are basically, yeah, so you are basically living in the past, unless you are brave enough to change your thought by changing your paradigm, by changing or by improving your principle, your knowledge. So if you are not able to, we're able to break that barrier, we're able to break and go to the higher level, so you're going to stop. So that's why most of the researcher, we are stuck with our own old way of conducting research. So that's why, lacks of, so that's why we don't see that much impact out of it. Yeah. So my challenge with you is that, are you willing, to cross this border, okay, and learn new things, change your paradigm and thought, and from there it will affect the way that you conduct research, and hopefully that will become a new you, a new you. We always think about what will be happening in the future. Any thought about this model? Any thought about this diagram? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, thank you for all your comment. Right. All right. So yeah, again, yeah. So this is something that I would all right. So again, some more thought on this, why researchers are struggle with the future. I think all of us know about this, this, that, we are so comfortable with the past. Yeah. We are resist to change, and no urgency as well. The researcher can continue publishing, and get accepted by the publisher, and so, why change? There's no urgency. And we are in a very volatile world. VUCA world, very volatile, very uncertain, very complex and very ambiguous. So this is the world that we are in. So, and we don't want to face that headache, and just continue the way that we are doing. And perhaps lack of foresight, mindset, and skill, limited knowledge and information, technology, and so all this confirmation bias. We are so, again, we are so adamant. Yeah, we are so adamant with our thought, with our knowledge, and we assume that everything is what they are. Yeah, and even the emotional, including KPI and the purpose and outcome. So all these are basically the challenges that we researchers are basically facing. And if you don't deal with this effectively, I'm just afraid that we are stuck. Yeah, we are stuck with our our past, and we are basically struggling for our future. Yeah. So what it takes to have a good, what it takes to have a good output for our research. I just reveal one. What criteria that you think? Again, if you put yourself in the user point of view, yeah. If you put yourself in the user point of view, what criteria that you have in mind to tell that this research output are what you are looking for, or addressing your need? What are the criteria? Any thought? What are the criteria? Yeah. Yeah, practicality, good. Relevant, good. Comprehensive, good. Yeah. Adaptability, yeah, good. Yeah, good. Yeah. I have this. Yeah, I have this. A good idea or good output. I use this when I develop, when I conduct a training to develop a product, for example, a business, a business product or services. I use this criteria, which I think can be also relevant in the context of research output, where it needs to be desirable. Desirable means that desired, fulfill the need of the customer. Yeah, it is what the customer want, the customer wish. That's why the wow factor is, yeah, the wow factor. The other is feasibility, something that doable, yeah, doable, something that you can apply, you can deliver, practicality, yeah, sort of, yeah, yeah, financiality, right? And also viability. It can help you to make money, it can help somehow, to improve the firm performance, because how good the model, how wonderful the model look like, but if it's not viable, in terms of it help to, to monetize or to commercialize, I think it also lack of impact there. Okay, and sustainability. Yeah, a good model need also based on, all right, okay. Yeah, good model need also have this element of sustainability. Yeah. How good the model is, if it's, not help the environment, especially the ESG, the environment, social and governance, is a no-no. Yeah, it's not sustainable. Last but not least, that's element of futurism. Yeah. So to me, these are the 5 elements. So yeah, Um, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know, but that's why I say that, you have that choice, either you want to treat the ESG as a greenwashing or this green hashing, or you want to treat that as a strategy, So again, in knowledge, we have the two area, yeah, either falseness or truthfulness, truthful. So I think the public or the stakeholders are basically aware of that, yeah. So these are the 5 elements that I always use as a criteria for any idea, for any product, including research, yeah. But if you compare this, versus, what are the common criteria that, that people would normally use to gauge the quality of research? Anyone? Or if you put yourself if you put yourself in the shoes of your supervisor, what are the criteria? What are the criteria? Yeah, right. So I think you know what, right? That of the lack of lots of article. Okay, lots of article. Yeah, yeah. So that, I mean, that is how we call it, discrepancy, and mismatch, that also the new challenge, that's a new challenge that we face, as a researcher, who are very, sincere researcher, who really want to share the truth. Yeah. All right. So when we conduct our research, so the challenge that we have is basically, okay, if you ask this question, if I ask my customer, my user, what they wanted from my research, from my research, they would have said what? Yeah. So these are among the common. Yeah, I think you have shared, that, you have shared that, lots of articles and a lot of papers and being produced. Yeah. But so from there, what can we, what can we say? What can we say with that, with that element? Because so that's why, our friend, our late friend Steve Jobs used to say that, customer do not know what they want. Customer don't know what they want. Yeah. So that's why we, as a researcher with a design thinking paradigm, we need to, have a different approach, to deal with this. So that's why Steve Jobs advised us, so don't rely so much on the user need, but we observe what they do from their non-verbal expression and action, then go to only what they want on, than to go, rather than to go what they say. Okay. So that's a new challenge actually, because all the while, we are so used to this, when we thought that, we want to address the need of the customer, we always like to ask the customer what they want. But that might not be the right way, because all the while, people, we know that, the customer don't know what they want. So that's why as a design thinker, we are trained to empathize. Yeah, as a design thinker, we are trained to empathize. We observe the painful suffered by our customer, and then we offer that solution. Yeah, we offer that solution that can really help them. Yeah, would the academic community able to accept design? Good question. Good question. Good question. It's quite challenging. Quite challenging. So that's why I always remind this to my student and also for those who are interested. You may use this paradigm just to enhance the current method or the current process of conducting research. So I always remind them that I don't want you to jeopardize your PhD, your study. Don't take that risk as yet because the time is not there. But to me, if they can have this paradigm, is more than enough. So that's why they don't really have to shift the research methodology. They have to change, but having that mindset to me is more than enough. We're going to see on this today how this design thinking paradigm can still help you while maneuvering while maneuvering this what we call conventional this conventional way of conducting research. Yeah. So again, all these, basically, again, as what the organizer has promised that they're going to share all the slide. Some of the slide I will go a bit faster. Maybe you can read this. Maybe you can just read this a lot on your own. Yeah. But something that I want to highlight that literature review by right, it should not only happen when we conduct research. The way I perceive literature review should happen long way ago, even from our, when we start reading, that is where the literature review should have started, so that only happened if we read, which unfortunately not many of us basically, are a reader, so when we read when we are forced to read. So that is the challenge, So with the limited exposure, with the limited experience, and also knowledge that we have, that that might not help, okay, us in our research, because ideally you have to read, you have to read a lot, and from there you can get some idea about how to apply the knowledge that you have. Because if you have done that, so the literature review will do its part. Actually, the literature review is basically just to confirm, to clarify, or to correct your thought. To correct your thought. You may have your own idea, initial idea. Okay, based on your observation, based on your experience and reading, for example, that this is what they need. You have that thought. And so when you conduct research, you are basically, especially in literature review, you are basically confirming or clarifying, all right, your initial thought, and from there, from there you adapt, you adopt, you alter, so you make all the changes needed, so that you can come up with a firm theoretical framework, and from there, then only you test, and then only you do the hypothetical testing, and so on and so on and so forth. So that's why that so that's why I think literature review should beyond our academic research. Yeah, it should be a continuous process as a lifelong learning. Even literature review should not stop when we get our PhD. All right. So the literature review should, I would say that the reading process, the reading process should continue. observation excel in business for sure, because human feeling is complex and everything. Yeah, yeah. Okay, instead of we design thinking be more exact for applying them. Yeah, so that's why, I mean, again, I don't intend, I don't intend to rock the boat here. I don't intend to change the research method. Yeah, I think we just continue. We just continue with the quantitative method, qualitative method, and all the technique basically available within that. But my advice here is basically, if you are a design thinker, and you can apply that paradigm, believe me that you're going to make your research, more research output more meaningful, more impactful. So you're going to see through. Okay, I will share with you, some of the tips, some of the strategy that we can use, I mean, so that still complying or still using the conventional, method, but it will help you to come up much more, impactful or meaningful research. Yeah. So that's why literature review, should be beyond research. Yeah. So it's an opportunity for you to broaden your horizon. Yeah. So that's why that, so, and also to validate and expand your knowledge. So that's whole issue, that's whole purpose of literature review. Yeah. And to even to enhance your critical thinking, to challenge your assumption, to challenge your the thought that you have. Yeah. So, and also, foster your curiosity, because again, another essence of researcher is basically you need to have this curiosity. Yeah. So again, at the end of the day, okay, it can help you, on how to make your knowledge more applicable and practical. Yeah. So so these are basically the objective. I think you basically know this. Yeah. I just want to share this, but more on a different perspective, much broader concept on that. So that's why, in summary, I can coin the literature review as this, um, yeah, okay. So as I said, literature review is a journey, okay, serve as a gateway, actually. It's a gateway to aspiration, to inspire you, yeah, which enable you to build upon the wisdom of the past. Yeah, you have to learn from the past, okay, but not totally rely on the past. Don't make, don't make your, don't get stuck your research with the past, because the past says so, and then you just follow through. No, the past might be relevant in the past, but if the past is not relevant in the future, so why should you use that again? Yeah. So you need to learn. We need to, use the wisdom of the past and blend with what we see in the future, because again, we want our model, we want our discovery, whatever that we discover from our research to be relevant in years to come. So that's why we always think, what will be the model relevant in 2050, for example. Yeah. So that we can come up with innovative solutions. So again, the model that you're going to develop, is not merely a model. It's not really a full of variables, full of hypotheses, but it's an innovative solution, for a brighter future, so that we're going to have a much better world, in years to come. Yeah. Yes, yeah, external research, yeah, correct. Yeah, also what is external research? But yeah, so you can do that. Yeah, you can. Yeah. Okay, so that's why, creativity is needed. I mean, so we need to innovate, all right? So what take us, how to innovate? Again, how to innovate? What we need for us to innovate? What we need for us to innovate? We need what we need to innovate. Think out of box, okay? Yeah. Think out of box, yeah. But we need to innovate. We need good. We need good what? Yeah, okay. Pain point, yeah, pain point. Oh, money. Yeah, good. We need ideas. We need ideas for us to innovate, right? But the issue is that how to generate ideas. What skill that we need to generate good ideas, right? So that's why we need a skill of critical thinking, creativity. Yeah, creativity is a skill. Yeah, creativity is a skill, and to me, that's why I really, I mean, I really, what we call in depth, of this design thinking, because this is where I learned that creativity is learnable. You can learn to become creative. You can, I mean, it's not, we used to say that creativity is something that you are born with, right? It's totally a myth, right? It's totally a myth. So creativity is learnable, something that you can learn, just like a future. Okay, we can learn on how to predict the future, even though we can't really ascertain how will be the future look like, but we can learn on how to predict the future. So same goes to the creativity. Yeah. So so you can learn creativity. Okay, that's by using the systematic technique. I don't say that design thinking is the only technique, but in the context of our discussion today, and also based on my own personal experience, I found that design thinking is one of the methods because it's so popular, it's proven in many circumstances that design thinking can help us to become more creative. So in research as well, we can use this, because yeah, creativity is a skill that we can develop, that we can manage, we can nurture, and we can learn that. Yeah. So this is how the design thinking process. Design thinking process. There are many schools of thought, but I share with you the most popular thought. Basically, just like a school of thought. Yeah. So design thinking also have a several school of thought. So this one, all right. This is basically the Stanford Stanford Design Schools school of thought. Yeah. So it have 5 steps. Start with empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. All right. So empathize. What does empathize mean? Empathize, we put ourselves in the shoes of the customer. Okay. And so in research, yeah, we put ourselves in the shoes of the user of our research. Yeah. So we're going to discuss later on who will be our user. Okay. So so in the stage of empathize, okay, the outcome is to get the pain point. So that's why my advice is that not only for research, but for all any product or services that we want to develop using design thinking, always start with one, identify the user. We need to be clear who are our user, who are our customer. Secondly, we empathize. We put ourselves in their shoes, okay, and get their pain point. What are the pain? What are the pain? Again, pain is not, it's not the physical pain, all right? But pain here is basically what bother them, what disturb them, what the challenges, what difficulty that they have, what they want, we call it, what they want, what they wish, what they need. That's why basically that, a good Process is basically the process that can help us to meet our unmet need, yeah, unmet need of our user. So that is the essence. Yeah. So empathize here, the stage, the outcome is basically to get the pain point. So if you don't unless and you obtain the good pain point, don't move to the next one. All right. So once you have the pain point, then you go to define. Define is where you internalize, you get the insight, you get a full understanding and convert that pain point into a problem statement. Because you need to have a clear problem statement for any product, gives to our research as well. We need to develop a good problem statement or research problem in order for us to work on. That is in define stage. In ideate is where we come up with the solution. We come up with the idea, the new idea on how to address the problem. Yeah. And prototype. So in research, maybe in the form of theoretical framework, conceptual framework, a proposition, or any form of model or initial outcome, yeah, model or initial outcome that that you can develop when you translate your idea into. Right? So prototype is something that we can visualize, yeah, because the prototype is basically and after you get your prototype and then you do the testing. Okay, so you do this testing to the real customer, right? To the real customer. So that's why it's applicable. I use this in product development. I use this in human development, product survey development, even a research development. Yeah, research development. Rather than we just stop at prototype, yeah, rather than we stop at prototype, why not go a bit more? Because test is basically a real test, or are you afraid of the test? Because you're afraid again that you might be rejected by the customer. So that means that so that is so if you are follow this process systematically, and seriously, you should not be afraid of testing, right? You should be following, should look forward to testing, because the testing will verify your idea, your prototype. Yeah. So this is basically the process that we use. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, to me, any innovation, any invention, somehow or other, because that's something unique about design thinking. Even this paradigm is basically overwhelmed by most innovators. But those the innovator, they don't call the process that they undertook, okay, using design thinking. But if you really follow through, okay, they are using design thinking. Because if they don't, I don't think that they're going to come up with a product that really innovative. Yeah. So that's why design thinking is a process that is a systematic, and I keep on highlighting this on the element of these five elements, because we should always have this in mind. All right. And I also add these four forces of signal of change, because we need, in order for us to be relevant in the future, we need to observe these four forces of signal of change, because in order for us to become, our model to become relevant in the future, because in the future, most of the changes will be depending, will be from these four elements. Yeah, we call it the signal of change. So you need to observe, for example, people change, their personality, their demography will change, their need will change, and also their level of knowledge will change. And same goes to resources, all this energy, the way that we use energy, the technology will also change. the knowledge, the knowledge will be expanded, with all this AI, AI element and all the governance. So the future will change based on these four forces of signal. So I keep on, showing all these elements because you always need to have this in your radar as well. Yeah. So again, it's a design thinking. So I will share with you some of the success story about design thinking. So all this model, yeah, business model canvas, all this lean startup methodology, BOSS, Blue Ocean. Even though I don't have the evidence, all of them are basically, basically derived or, born from their thesis. But somehow or other, I believe that all these models are basically the outcome from a proper research. Yeah. So all these are basically, I call it winning model or popular model. Okay. And these are, all these are basically done out of a proper research. And definitely that they're going, because they are very well sought after, very well received. So definitely that they use a design thinking process along the way. I always use the example of phone. Yeah, iPhone is called a revolutionary. It changed the landscape of the phone. Because why? Because Steve Jobs, applied design thinking. He knows the pain suffered. I don't know. Maybe you are too young, to remember. Using that Nokia 33110. How difficult it is. With the touch, with the pad, with the pad and the small screen. And so, but, so the Steve Jobs, empathize our pain. And then he come up with this phone and become a revolutionary. And it's where, all the innovation come in. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, this is a damage to be serve humanity. Yeah. Yeah, but but it still need to be verified, need to be validated. Yeah. Yeah, academic revolution has to be, worldly to be an impetus to it. Exactly. So this what, that's why I think one of the reasons why I get involved into this education world, something about this. I hope that I can serve the, humanity. With that, serve, come up a new knowledge. Conduct research, contribute a new knowledge, and also serve for a better world. Which I think, yeah, we can see that somehow or somewhere, but not, not as not as a whole. Yeah, not, it's not basically well appreciated by many of researcher. Yeah. So yeah, all these, Tesla, basically Tesla is coming. Yeah, it's coming. All this innovation. Yeah. Okay, I think you know that, even though it is comparatively expensive, yeah, but relatively is cheap. Yeah, it is cheaper. Because why? Because Tesla come up with a new, not only the car model, yeah, with a new design, the new technology, but also with the new, we call it marketing, or sales mechanism. Yeah, that Tesla doesn't need sales rep. Yeah, they don't need a sales rep, so we can just order online everything. So they kill the Tesla system, kill the sales rep. So that's why we enjoy the benefit. Yeah, that's why I think relatively it's cheaper, because we don't have to, we don't have to pay for that. So these are the, these are the idea that, Tesla, Elon Musk basically thanks coming out here. Yeah. So all right. So that's why, lot of university are basically applying this. Yeah. This method. So if you look all these established university in the world, the university that probably, that produce a unicorn. I hope you know what unicorn are. So all these, university are basically applying design thinking in their university. So that's how design thinking is. It's a human, is a problem statement, it's a problems solving method that we solve, that we use a human-centered approach. We solve a problem innovatively. Yeah. So we learn, we learn from the successful innovator. We observe their process, okay, and from the process we learn that this EDIPT, empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and also test is the normal process that taken by most innovator. Yeah. And so with the help, if you use design thinking, it will help us to come up with the product with this criteria, and where the innovation will come in. Yeah. So again, right. So in research, we have even wicked, we deal with a wicked problem, because we deal with human, so that's why, you can't just ask a customer what they want, okay? Because they're going to change their mind when they get it. Yeah. So same goes to our example just now. If Steve Jobs asks us what type of phone that we want, I think definitely that we're going to ask something about similar about that Nokia 3310, right? Because we don't know what we want, all right? But Steve Jobs don't trust us, they just know what our wishes, what our want, and he come up with that, with the flow. And when we see that, wow, that's a wow factor is, yeah. So same goes to the research. So my advice is that, so you have to identify who are your customer. Yeah. So again, why can't we ask the customer? I list some of the point, why we can't ask our customer what they want, because again, at the end of the day, in one sentence, the customer don't know, they are not aware what they really wish, what they really want. Yeah. So so that's why we need to stop thinking that we are like the user. That's a two-thing element. Yeah. So we can't we can't assume that we know our user, because they are different, but at the same time we also need to find way on how to really know inside them, yeah, what they really want. So that's why we need to empathize. Empathize means that mental state that we walk in their shoes, we put ourselves in their shoes, we walk in their shoes. So all this, maybe you can go through after this, okay? Empathize, for example, I think right? I mean, again, all of you are the fast learner, fast scholars, fast learner scholars, definitely that you can appreciate all these concepts. Yeah. So that's why the best way to empathize is basically to respond to their unspeakable non-verbal expression. Yeah, something that they don't think about. Yeah, so that's why, in simple word, not really simple, but if I can summarize this into this sentence, the ability of researcher, yeah, to internalize one condition in this context, basically the user, the customer, the stakeholders, their thought, their understanding and feeling, then act to help and specify his ultimate aim. Yeah. So that's why if you have this design thinking in mind, it will help you to redesign your research. Again, I don't expect you to change, to change your, but I know, just revisit, relook that, so that along the entire process, you always have this customer in your radar. If the customer, will, I always use the example of this, while you are developing any product, for example, you always ask, will the user like this product? Okay, when they see the outcome, you always have this in mind. Same goes, I mean, it's a game, I mean, in your research as well. You need to empathize. You need to put yourself, okay, in the shoes of your customer. Will your customer appreciate? Will your reader, your examiner appreciate? You know, so all this need to always be in your mind. You know, that will really help you to come out with that. Yeah. So that's why, as a researcher, how to empathize, you need to have we call the futurist eye. You know, you need to know what will be happen, what will be look like, what will be the scenario like in the future. You know, and what will be the new issue might arise in the future, because we really want to ensure that our research findings are basically relevant in the future. So you have to look through, yeah. You have to go through the research, we call it using a design thinker lens, and even think and behave like a futurist, you know, like someone who are aware basically what will be happening in the future. I mean, something to ponder, something to reflect on. You know, I mean, that's why I say that I'm lucky, because Dr. Noor have covered all the key elements in literature review. So it really make my life easier. Okay, so I just give another perspective for you to reflect, you know, for you to ponder. Yeah, you know, how do you overcome? Yeah, when you empathize. Yeah, so we're going to see. We're going to. I will share with you the process of empathize. Yeah. So I also highlight this. You know, um, why researcher need also embed the element of foresight. You know, foresight to me is very important. I think we don't have that much time not to cover the element of foresight, but I think for any decision making, any problem solving effort, including research, you need to incorporate the element of foresight. Yeah. Okay. So again, these are the so if you are dealing with a foresight, these are the four signal, we call it signal of change, that you need to observe. Okay, so people change, people become more sophisticated, people become more knowledgeable. You know, even you may see that, you know, some people might annoy, you know, or insult your intelligence. Yeah, their thought, their action. But to me, that's only the minority of them. In the future, people are more educated, people are more sophisticated, they are more knowledgeable. Okay, so because again, you know, knowledge will become the norm. Yeah, so people are, so the new knowledge will appear. People are more keen, I mean, to apply the new knowledge, and all this, the AI element will help. So that will be the world like in the future. So the resources, the energy, how we treat the sustainability element, ESG will change in the future. Governance as well, you know, even though we have all this geopolitical element, but, you know, when it comes to the governance, rule, procedure, you know, will change in the future, because when the people change. Yeah. So back to the, and also underlying with the element of sustainability. People are getting more aware of the sustainability. Okay, and that is basically the future. The future is this driven to. Yeah. So how to empathize? We need to engage. You can ask, you can interview. Okay, you can even observe. Okay, but the best form of empathize is you immerse with them. Okay, you live with them. Okay, you become part of them. So let's say ideally, that's why I sometimes that, you know, even though I experienced many, you know, many students with vast experience, practical experience, or in the industry experience, but I think since they are not trained, you know, to empathize, when they have the opportunity to immerse themselves in the real world, because we don't, that's why we don't see that much, you know,
interesting idea, coming from there. So we need to train them, put yourself in the shoes of your workplace, what are the pain that they have, what are the suffering. So based on that pain, then you come up with the research idea. So, but when come to empathize, everybody can do that. But doesn't, even if you are a fresh graduate, for example, you can always empathize, engage with your friend who work, for example, engage with the employee, and from there you get the idea, because the ultimate aim of the empathize is the ultimate aim of empathize is to get the pain point. So there are various ways actually. Yeah, of course you can interview, but you know that I keep on telling that interview you can, but it's not an effective. Okay. The best form is basically, yeah, you can interview, but the best form is you immerse, because when you immerse, you can see their body, you can see their facial expression, you can see what they see, what they do, what they think. So these are the elements that you need to do. Yeah. So that's why the first step that you have to identify who are your customer. Okay, identify your customer. That's the first thing that we need to do. Same goes to the research, because you need to identify who are your customer, because if you want to conduct questionnaire, because they will be your respondent, right? So they will be your respondent. So you need to identify who they are, and then uncover their profile, because this profile is not so much on their respondent, but also from knowing their profile, you know what type of expectation that they have when you come up with a solution. Okay, so from there you say, based from there you get what they say, what do they do, they think, and they feel, and from there you can get the point. Yeah, understand their personality, ascertain their pain, get their pain. What are their pain points? Okay, what are their gain? Gain here basically their wishes. What are their pain? What are their wishes? Yeah. Okay. All right, something that we can discuss. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah. So again, these are the steps that in empathize. Okay. Identify your customer, and then identify their pain. Yeah. Get their pain and their gain, their wishes, and from there, okay. So this is, I try to empathize on all of you. Okay. And again, I put myself, again, I was a student before. Okay. I suffered the same pain, right? So as a student, what are the pain that they have? so basically, I don't mind, I don't mean to demotivate you. I try to empathize, I try to yeah. So it's basically, you have that challenges, because there are students who take years, if not months, to develop the theoretical framework. Because I think if you use the correct method, I think actually, maybe you can interview most of my students, so normally, all my students, that is our focus. Yeah. So they need to develop the theoretical framework as soon as possible. Okay. Most of this headache, most of this, pain, when they are not when they are not clear on the theoretical framework. Yeah. So that's why I would approach this, how the literature review can help us, how literature review can help us to come up with the theoretical framework as soon as possible. Because we know that we're going to discuss later that theoretical framework, or the problem statement is the pinnacle, is the key of everything. If you are stuck, so it's quite difficult for you to move forward. So we're going to discuss. Yeah. So So with this in mind, this is why how I approach. So that's why I start with the thinking process and paradigm. I mean, and also the paradigm shift and understand the customer, what they want. If you have that mindset, if you have that paradigm clear, I think you're going to have much more, much more joyful, joyful faces as compared to them. All right. um, yeah, yeah, yeah. You are right, man. You are right. Okay. So again, yeah. So again, so in your context, we have to be clear who are our user, right? So our user. So again, I think I need to. I mean, for those who need to leave, yeah. I mean, is okay, yeah. Because I think I need another half an hour to complete that this early part, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. That is the that is the problem with me, because I try to overwhelm myself with all this sharing, especially when it comes to design thinking. I'm so passionate about this. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, we need to identify who are our customer, because to help us to empathize, we need to be clear who are our customer. All right. So who our customer again? Who are our customer? Of course, I think we discussed that, yeah, the user. Yeah, so the user. So we need to know their profile. So I'm saying that all this, you need to know their profile and their pain, their wishes, their expectation. Okay, so if you can appreciate, if you can get all their pain point, okay, you're going to deal with them in a very confident manner, believe me. Yeah. So user, yeah, so user. So who are the user? Yeah, the user basically the user, the beneficiary of your research finding. Yeah, of the research finding. So the real user, yeah, the direct user. You may have another indirect user like policymaker and so on, but your first focus should be the user. Because if you want to ensure that your research output have a commercial value, so you need to ensure that you understand what the user want, yeah, what the user need, right? And then, yeah, examiner, you cannot lose sight of them. Okay. Again, yeah, you need to, yeah. I mean, again, examiner, as I mean, as examiner are human as well. They also have their wish. They also have their wish and want, need, of course, yeah. And also they also have that wow factor. They also have some element of unexpected joy. So if we can offer them something new, I believe that, if you can show to the examiner, that you have the business, you have the model, you have the finding that have been verified by the user, do you think the examiner will not happy? Yeah. Right. So again, I mean, that that would definitely help the value of your finding. Of course, the policymaker, the university would definitely, that's why I say that, ideally that, your any output that, that we generate, from our research need to have some sort of commercial value. And of course, the policymaker, the university will love to see that, especially all the KPI is, it's not only the number of paper, but also the money and, the university generate and so on. And of course, the supervisor, okay, so all other, and also the publisher. So I mean, again, this is the challenges that we need to, encounter. Yeah. So all these are the user. So you need to understand each one of them. Okay. I mean, of course, some other party except the user, they may have their own, of course, some personal interest, but at the end of the day, that, I would say that the customer-centered will win. Yeah, the customer-centered will win. Yeah. So you may consider other customer or other stakeholders as well, but my advice is that focus on the user, because that will ensure that your output will become more impactful. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I will start a bit. Yeah. Again, I'm going to stop at 12. Yeah. So again, for those who need to go for lunch earlier, it's okay. For you to leave earlier. I mean, of course, you can always view this video again and again. Yeah, later on. Okay. So that's why, based on your past literature review, based on again your own experience, I would say that literature review is not only what you read, but also based on your experiences, based on your exposure, based on that. That's why you need to identify your area of interest. So the area of interest must be clear. I mean, must be clear. So for example, this is also the challenges that, again, I used to face as well. I personally, okay, and in fact, many of the students, when they come, they don't have that much clear on the context, on the focus, on the scope of the study. So that's why we need to, you need to discuss with your supervisor, with your friend, sometimes even the supervisor, I myself has these challenges, because I personally, I don't like to impose my area of interest to the students. So I would normally, we give the freedom to the student to choose. Yeah, to choose. So as a student, you need to identify, not out of convenience, not out of convenience, and not out of any interest. Okay, you need to have your own criteria. So that's why already this 5 elements should always, in your this entire 5 criteria should always in your mind. For example, I mean, put your self-interest aside first. Always identify who are your customer, who are the party that you have interest in, that you're going to benefit from your research. Again, not out, I mean, to me, please, don't out of convenience, out of other element, go to this element, this 4 criteria. Desirable is this what the customer, you have to identify who are the most relevant customer. You can say it can be SME, it can be a public listed company, it can be any Indian. You have to identify who they are. Yeah, you need to identify who they are. All right. So when you identify who they are, and then you start thinking what they desire, what they expect from you. Okay, what something that you can show, make they jump out of joyness, out of happiness. Okay, so you need to identify what they desire, what they wish from you. So let's say that I give you the example. I will be using this example because, again, circular economy is my new toys, is my new. So because again, it's basically the trend in the future. Okay, so let's say that my interest is in the circular economy, because I know that the future will be about ESG, this SDG, ESG, and all these sustainability elements. So my focus is that on circular economy. Okay, that's my interest. So now I have the option, for example, that SME, in circular economy, and we have many types of SME, for example. So why not I zoom into a manufacturing industry? Because this is especially in this particular country, this is something that booming. Yeah, something that booming. So that will be, they will be the relevant individual. So there's something they're going to start with. Something you're going to start with. Also, so over here we have the user. because based on the user, okay, we know. So you put the other interest first, you forget about, again, you forget about maybe some element about the supervisor interest you may also take into consideration, because you need to, you need to work something on where the supervisor is very comfortable with. I think that's a basic knowledge about it, right? So jive, jive your area of interest with your supervisor as well. So once you identify this, so you identify the decibel, is it feasible? Is it viable? Is it sustainable? Is it futurism? Yeah. So if you can test this, put this in perspective, and you can fulfill all this, then you can start. Start again with the empathize, with the objective of getting the pain point. Okay, get the pain point, right? So either you engage with the SME manufacturing industry, okay, the issue is, the ultimate aim is to gather as many pain points as possible. Okay, so we have several, several points, for example, that, listen to the pain point around you. For within them lie a seed of innovation. So if you want to come up with something innovative, something new, to me, that you need to start with the pain point. The pain point is a seed of innovation that can shape a brighter tomorrow. That's a good quotation, yeah? Change and innovation, okay? When you have the seed that have potential to blossom into impactful solution. I like this third one. Painful, just like a whisper from the universe. You like that? Okay, so, yeah. So again, yeah, pain point, it's a whisper, because, yeah, there's something that, you need, something that you need as a guidance, for you to move forward. So that's why we got pain point. And yeah, these are the among the pain point, yeah, among the pain point that you can think of. And even you can ask this anyone, you can ask this from the person from the industry, you can ask from the AI, lots of AI software now and so on. So get all these pain points. Again, yeah, get all these pain points. To me, the more the better, the more the merrier. Okay, because my advice is that you need this pain point as an impetus for your variable. Okay, you can always combine this, you can always combine this to form your variable, and from the variable you can develop a model, a theoretical framework, okay, based on this pain point. So you get, as many, for example, over here we have 23, 23. So these are the very, again, if I make more effort, I will definitely find more, okay? But the point that you have to capture all these pain points, because this point, again, as I said, so this is an impetus, yeah, it's an impetus for the seed of the innovation that you want to come out with. Yeah. So again, all this, you can combine this element. We don't have that time, okay, but I think you are smart people. I believe that, you are the smart people, and you are the very fast learner. I believe that, you can easily, I think if you can use this pain point, you can easily turn this into variable. Yeah. So, and then identify the variable. Why? So we're going to discuss how. So basically, how is based on the pain point. So again, variable, I think we know this. Yeah, variable are the building block of research. We need to identify the variable. So again, that's why don't limit yourself. Don't trap yourself into the past research. The past research, and then you just copy. To me, it's yeah. Again, to me, research, you can always perceive this as a game, as a game for where you can strategize. You can play around. But yeah, if you have that option, but again, you ask yourself, what is the purpose of conducting this research? So that's why I think if you can develop, the model, from here, of from this variable that you can develop from the point that, again, so the variable are basically the building block of research. Yeah, allow us to systematically investigate and understand the relationship. The variable are the compass that guide us toward knowledge and discovery. So this is how important the variable is. So again, of course, you can have the option, just take the variable that have been used, so from there, I combine the pinpoint. Yeah, I combine the pinpoint into this variable. So let's say that, I call all this, where I can combine all that 20 or 20 plus pinpoint, okay, I can, form into this variable, okay, sub variable, okay, and under the name, yeah, under the name, I'll call it a sustainable circular economy practice. Yeah, so you observe that, we know this, even though SME is a small company, but in order for them to survive in the future, they have to comply with ESG. They have no option because they are mostly out there, they need to network. They need to become a supplier to the multinational company. And multinational company have been issuing all this, policy of where all their vendors, all their supplier need to comply with all this ESG and so on. So in that sense, the future of SME, they cannot run away, they cannot escape from this element of ESG, and we call it the circular economy and this element. So what are the pain? That's why I say that if you ask them, they might not know. Yeah, if you ask them, they might not know all this variable. But you as a researcher, okay, that's why you have to empathize and know what are the pain points, and from there, okay, this is what they need actually. Okay, so you turn their pain point into the model which they need. Okay, they need this model. They need all these elements to help them to become more prepared. They need to practice this. They need to put all this into practice. So when they have all this into practice, so they are basically preparing them, for the future. Yeah. So all this, I got this. So for example, the sustainable circular economy practice, I put as an individual variable, and they are the item below this. Yeah. And yeah, so I call this the competitive, and also and you start thinking, again, you always put yourself in the shoes of the customer, what they really want. Okay, because you are trained with your research methodology. Okay, you are trained about this, framework, what consists in the framework. It need to be have the IV, mediating, moderating, depending variable. You have all that and try to capture. But the essence is that you need to know what are the pain points. This is what the element that they need to have. Right. So I put this, for example, that so I put this as the sustainable circular economy practice as IV, independent variable, and then competitive advantage, I put that as a mediating, design thinking application, or you can put anything. Yeah, but again, I might be biased, but it's just my proposal, because company need to innovate. Okay, need to innovate. need to create an innovative environment and culture. So one way to do that is basically to implement or to practice design thinking concept. So I put that as a moderating variable, and then the firm performance, yeah, as a DV. So I have that in mind. And then, all right, so again, that's why the output, yeah, the output of the empathize stage is the pain point, yeah, is the pain point. So until and unless you get the pain point and you get all these variable, okay, so you need to work on that, yeah. So until you get all these variable, yeah, variable only, yeah, not the measurement as yet. We're going to you can develop the item or the measurement in the next stage. So I think it's a good time for us to stop here, to have a break here. So we're going to stop at one of the most, again, empathy. To me, when it comes to design thinking, if you forget all that 4 other steps, if you remember empathize, that is more than enough. I mean, to me, the empathy is everything. Okay, not only in innovation, I think even in the context of the world, I think world will become much better if people more are empathetic. Agree with me? The world, it will be much better, you know, much harmony, much peaceful, you know, very peaceful if people have this empathize. Yeah, people start empathizing. Yeah. So again, I stop here. I think we have five more minutes. If you ask, or if you can just keep, if you can keep your question until the last also can, yeah. But I think it's time for us to stop. Yeah. So empathize. Yeah. Remember, after this, we're going to go to the define stage. How define is that's why you see that design thinking is arranged using that hexagon. You know, right? The hexagon has its own significance. Why we use hexagon? Because it's, if you connect them, it connect in a very effective way. Yeah. So everything is interconnected. Yeah. So once you complete with the empathize, and then we go to the define. Yeah. So see you at 2 o'clock. Okay, sharp. Yeah, 2 o'clock sharp. We're going to start immediately at 2. All right. Okay. So with that, thank you. All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your point. Thank you for your great ideas, and see you at 2. All right. Okay. Bye.